Irenaeus was a 2nd century bishop in Lyon, and in his work Against Heresies, Book 5, chapters 29 and 30, he is one of the first theologians to tackle 666. So let's explore Irenaeus and the Mark of the Beast. Welcome, explorers, and in a relatively short but dense 2 chapters, Irenaeus throws lots of spaghetti against the wall regarding 666 to see if any of his noodles stick. But he does fully recognize that calculating who or what the number 666 refers to will be difficult, and in his words, it is therefore more certain and less hazardous to await the fulfillment of the prophecy than to be making surmises and casting about for any names that may present themselves. End quote. Irenaeus is not in the camp that believes much of Revelation has already been fulfilled. He views the book as future prophecy, and he begins by fully explaining that 666 might be unsolvable until the prophecy is actually fulfilled. We may not know what it means until God actually fulfills the prophecy. Thus, Irenaeus begins by warning that making surmises is a hazardous proposition. And then he does exactly what we want him to do. He starts surmising. And he makes 5 propositions regarding 666. In this video, we will explore 4 of his 5 propositions, saving 1 for our next video because it needs a more full treatment. So first, Irenaeus explains why 666 is an evil number. 600 speaks of idolatry and wickedness because Noah was 600 years old when the great flood came to wipe out all the evil of Noah's generation. Then, the idol image set up by King Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel was 60 cubits high by 6 cubits in width. 60 plus 6 equals 66. So 66 is a number referencing idolatry. So put Noah and Nebuchadnezzar together and you have 666, speaking of great wickedness and idolatry. That is some theological gymnastics right there. And second, Revelation, like most books in the New Testament, was written in Greek, and there is a textual variant in the Greek manuscripts of Revelation. Most manuscripts do read 666, but there are some that read 616. This will become important when we get to the Nero theory. And we have some ancient attempts to solve 616 rather than 666. But Irenaeus argues that 666 is the proper number for this text, and modern scholarship backs Irenaeus here, defending that 666 is the original number in the original text. Well, after settling on the number 666, Irenaeus uses Gematria to put names to this number. In both the Greek and Hebrew alphabets, letters have numeric values. Gematria is the transposing of words to numbers or numbers to words using the numeric value of the letters. So Irenaeus will use the numeric values of letters in an attempt to find a proper name that equals 666. Irenaeus uses Greek letters in his calculations, while some will use the Hebrew alphabet. And third, and we are finally getting to names, and the first name Irenaeus puts forward shows Irenaeus' absolute brilliance and prudence when it comes to difficult text in the Bible. I cannot tell you how much I love this first name. The first name put forth by Irenaeus equals 666 is Evanthos. Irenaeus uses Evanthos to teach us something very important, as Evanthos is not a legitimate name put forward by Irenaeus to actually be the beast of the sea or to be connected to 666. He makes it clear that Evanthos is not a legitimate proposal. It is a name he puts forward as a caution. Evanthos is a demonstration of how easy it is to find a name that equals the number 666. He states we're not lacking in possible names that equal the number. Names to fit the number are easy to find. It is the correct name that might be more elusive. Evanthos is a name of caution that theologians should again be wary of their postulations and surety on this matter. It's just brilliant. Using the name Evanthos as a warning to all theologians to not be so arrogant in their conclusion is absolutely brilliant. Well, after 2 warnings by Irenaeus, he runs through them both and puts forth 2 serious names for consideration. We are going to save one of these names for a future video because it needs its own attention. But we are actually going to share the theory that Irenaeus himself thinks is the best available theory of his day. And this brings us to the 4th of his 5 propositions. Irenaeus puts forth the name Titan as a solution to 666. Irenaeus likes the Titan theory as he writes, Titan, among all the names which are found among us, is rather worthy of credit. End quote. One fact is needed as we dive into this Titan theory. Irenaeus believes the beast of the sea in Revelation and the Antichrist mentioned in 1st and 2nd John are the same individual. In these two chapters, Irenaeus has used the term Antichrist multiple times connected to the number 666 and the term Titan. But before we dive into his positive Titan evidence, we must address one fact. Irenaeus begins his Titan theory by pointing out a flaw. For Titan to equal 666, you have to add a letter to its spelling. Instead of spelling Titan, tau, iota, tau, alpha, nu, you must add a vowel to the first syllable and spell Titan, tau, then add an epsilon, and finish with iota, tau, alpha, and nu. He begins by admitting to using an uncommon spelling to make Titan work by adding an epsilon. But if you think Irenaeus is going to allow a simple misspelling to derail his theory, think again. By adding the epsilon, Titan then becomes a 6-letter word, and Irenaeus seems to think the 6 letters that then add up to 666 makes an uncommonly spelled Titan even more convincing. I guess this is because there's another 6 involved, but he definitely uses the 6 letters as a check in the pro column for Titan. And Titans are a part of Hellenistic religion, and Irenaeus gives several reasons he likes this Titan theory. Titan is an ancient word that does not have an ordinary use in his day. It does not apply to any current king or idol. Since it does not apply to any king or idol, it is an open term for the beast of the sea / Antichrist to take up. A tyrannical Antichrist could use the name or title of Titan without conflicting with anything current. Also, people view Titans as divine, which seems to fit with the worship of the beast of the sea. If the beast of the sea is to be worshipped, it makes sense to Irenaeus that his title or name would have a divine history. Also, he states that Titan is a word of vengeance that will accurately describe how the Antichrist will treat many. And finally, Titan is a term of royal dignity which will befit the Antichrist's high status in the world. But it is also a term of a tyrant, which will apply to the Antichrist as well. Irenaeus views the term Titan as open for use, possessing a divine history that will fit the worship of the beast of the sea, possesses royal connotations which will match the authority the beast of the sea will possess, and it has a vengeful and tyrannical aspects to the term which will fit the warring and injustice carried out by the beast of the sea. Irenaeus is not the only church father to mention the misspelled Titan theory. Oecumenius also mentions Titan, and he argues that Titan can be correctly spelled using an epsilon iota diphthong rather than just a singular iota. It's not a misspelling at all, but an accepted spelling. The pros to the Titan theory is the divinity and worship connected to the term Titan, the warring nature of Titan. In Hellenistic religion, Titan and the beast of the sea have some things in common, such as being objects of worship, vengeance, and warring in nature. Well, the obvious downside to Titan is the spelling issue. Even if Oecumenius is correct and the diphthong is an acceptable spelling, we know that, at best, it is an uncommon spelling. And you have to assume that when John wrote 666, that John would know, that his readers would know, to use an uncommon spelling to solve his mystery. That is a big assumption. And this theory is not widely held today, but was one that Irenaeus thought was worth wrestling with. But always remember Eventhos as the brilliant warning. There will always be plenty of names that we can make fit the number. And let's be cautious before we stamp any firm conclusions, and let's wrestle with some theories that are worth wrestling with. I wonder what the number of my name is. And as always, my bibliography is in the description below. Thanks for watching. Be blessed.